And welcome back aboard Blurry Force One with your boy Mo. And this is the Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero and our pop culture media. That's movies, TV shows, video games, comics. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all of that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into the podcast today, you know what to do. Get down there and hit like on this video. So welcome in. This is a new episode. You notice it's very different because I'm by myself. Unfortunately, Polly is a bit under the weather, sore throat and the like. Can't really talk, so you just got to put up with me today. We'll try to make this short and sweet. Talk about the news, what's going on with superhero stuff. It's kind of a slow news week, I guess, because it's still January. Things are starting to get rolling in Hollywood again. I know that some things are filming. There's post-production on stuff like Spider-Man. I believe we're done with the Avengers Doomsday teaser rollout. So the only thing that we're looking forward to really is Wonder Man, which is coming out in a couple weeks, which should be cool. And I will note that they have been actually doing a real marketing campaign for this show. Even though they're kind of unceremoniously dumping Wonder Man onto Disney Plus, I don't love that. I wanted it to be week to week, but they are doing a pretty good marketing campaign for it. And the little teasers that are coming out, the TV spots, really kind of getting us hyped up. Not sure exactly how this show is going to play out, but I know we did get to see like the the comics accurate suit for it. So that's pretty cool. So that's all going on. As usual, I do like to, ask my my co-host what she's up to, and what I let y'all know what I'm up to. That's nerdy. This week, honestly, not too much. I think I'm still watching Percy Jackson. Rewatched it Chapter 1 because my daughter really wanted to watch it again because of Stranger Things, and otherwise, I've been sort of preoccupied with gardening stuff, with just. That's my other thing is superhero stuff, and then it's gardening. And so I'm gearing up for the spring real early this year. Beyond that, I did do a little nerding on a budget, but I do want to hold on to that till next week because I'm expecting a very big Bad Toy Store haul. Like 21 things are coming in, and I do want to make like a big spectacle of it. So I'm going to hold on to that until then. So like I said, not a whole lot going on. I do know that there's been some movement as far as award season. They did the Golden Globes. Sinners, as I expected, did not win in the categories I think it should have for the major categories. I know they haven't been passed over, but they won for not like what I figured, which was like score and stuff like that. But what they really needed to win for is like best actor and screenplay and so forth. I think best film. I think they got Best Cinematic Achievement, which is, I don't know what to call that. It sounds like most popular movie or something, but good for them. We're going to keep an eye on all of that. And beyond that, yeah, like I said, not too much else going on. Like, this has been a busy kind of week for me outside of superhero stuff, but I do plan to dive into more comics and the like. I have a global comics subscription. I didn't realize it was still going, so I'm going to probably start reading Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, and probably, keep getting caught up on this Black Panther stuff. I got to get back to doing my recaps. So with that being said, the other thing is I'm trying to go do more stuff on TikTok. I know this is YouTube. I'm trying to do more stuff on TikTok. So it's blurred_force1. I finally changed the name. It's not super_not_funny show anymore. It's blurred_force1 on TikTok. We passed 50 followers on TikTok. Planning to try to do lives there. So that's all what's going on with me, the nerdy stuff I'm doing. So this week we do have a very small amount of news that we're going to cover, and it's again, it's a slow time in the industry. It just is. So we just gotta try to wring as much content out of it as we can. So we are going to be looking at a bit of Marvel, Marvel Entertainment, social media interaction, where they ask you about what is the place that the location you'd like to be in the MCU. I think there's only one answer, but we'll see. Paramount and WB, that and Netflix, that whole situation continues to be full of drama and unfolding because somebody just won't take no for an answer. So we'll be talking about the new developments there. And then the last thing, just again, slow news week. So we're going to talk about some rumors. Rumors are always floating around the internet. They're always on social media. Most of them are dubious, but it might be fun to look into them and see, if they seem real and what we think about them. So there's quite a few about like Blade and Hawkeye and Wolverine. So cool stuff. We're going to check it out. So let's get into all of that. So, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's a ton of locations, and the Marvel, I guess, Threads account was asking something, which I think it will reveal something about you as a fan of the MCU. But I think there's really only one correct answer here, and they asked, which Marvel location are you choosing to go to? And if you look at the image, I kind of screenshotted their social media post. It shows Asgard, New York from Earth 828, Wakanda, and New York from Earth 616. 616, of course, being the mainline MCU universe. So it asks fans, like, this is maybe a fan litmus test, I think, of, kind of who you, what kind of MCU fan you are. But I feel pretty certain that there's really only one answer to this. So let's go with the ones that's not. First of all, if you chose 616 New York, why do you love being around all the drama all the time? There's literally no reason to be in New York City in the mainline MCU universe. You're guaranteed to be surrounded by some bullshit. I say this about the regular comics universe anyway. Why on earth anyone lives in like New York City in the comics universe, I couldn't tell you, because there's superpower people left, right, and center. Just random ass pickpockets have superpowers. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always some shit going on. So either you're jaded as hell, or you're just stupid, because New York City is dangerous as hell if you don't have superpowers. And it's not as bad in the MCU. It's not as bad, but it's close. It's pretty damn close as far as as far as I'm concerned. You have at least a few villains running around. You got the Chitauri tech floating around. Kingpin is doing his organized crime shit. Daredevil's beating the hell out of people. Punisher's going. I mean, like, all sorts of people are going around. And of course there's the Avengers there, and whatever they bring to town. I don't think it's a good place to chill out, but to each his own, but that wouldn't be mine. I don't think that's a good place to chill. The other one was Asgard. I only say no to this because it's basically just a retro-futuristic, kind of Norse, I guess Norse dream, I guess you could say. It's like all of these people who think like, oh, it's great back in Viking days. Well, what if that, but they have spears that shoot lasers, I guess. It doesn't seem like it's an amazing place. I mean, it's probably amazing actually, but you got superpowers, you live there. But how many flagons of mead can you toss back and break the tankard? And how much I guess Viking age living can you really do? Doesn't sound like my cup of tea. The other one, Earth 828 New York. Same problem as 616 New York, except you have less superheroes and more ridiculous villains. It's basically a place where the Fantastic Four's villains are all around doing shit. They're doing their little super science crimes and stuff. The Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, Silver Age crime stuff. I wouldn't love living in a world like that. I just think it would be not so fun. To their credit, though, it does seem like they said no to racism, so which is, I'll take that. That's nice. But for the most part, it's still just New York filled with foolishness. So the only correct answer is Wakanda. Fight me. Why is it Wakanda? Well, it's Wakanda because they don't have any of that superpower bullshit going on. And it's a technologically advanced society that has all. I mean, it's a technologically advanced society that is so advanced that probably getting sick is not a huge problem. I mean, I'm sure it is. There's something they can't cure, but I mean, Shuri literally made a dude that was paralyzed not be paralyzed. They got all that awesome technology that does not seem to just be, just for the, Wakanda royal family. Everything just seems really cool there. And hey, maybe I'm biased because I'm black, but it seems like kind of a paradise. But either way, the Wakandans seem particularly enlightened. They're prosperous. It's a nice place to live. I'm sure they'll, if you're an outsider, they'll still treat you like that. But whatever, it still seems like a good place to go. So I think the correct answer is Wakanda. But what do you guys think about it? I want to know which one of these locations, or maybe there's a different location you think would be better. Talokan and what the hell's the name of it? Kamertage. They sound like good places too. So either way, let me know and we'll talk about it down in the comments. So that takes us to the ongoing drama between Paramount, WB Discovery, and Netflix, as WB Discovery is trying to be sold to somebody, and Netflix was chosen, and Paramount just can't take no for an answer. It is, you know what? I made a joke about this on Threads, and I think it counts. I think it holds true. Like they're like Steve Urkel. If you're old enough to have watched Family Matters back in the day, just won't take no for an answer. Like, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen where someone's rejected so many times, and every time they're appealing to this authority, that authority. How many people are you going to go to the village elders and be like, they must marry me? It's wild. With WB Discovery, Paramount, they don't want you. Like, for real, come on. Take the L and move on. There are plenty of other fish in the sea. Plenty of other fish that would love a fascist, bootlicking organization to take it over. They want to be the next Newsmax. So like WB Discovery is like, no, we want Netflix. Like you're sitting up here, you're trying to get an arranged marriage when somebody else they've already decided to marry somebody else. It's wild. That being said, we have to keep talking about it because DC Studios is on the line here. Who's going to actually ultimately control it? Well, so what's happening now is David Ellison, who is the CEO of Skydance and Paramount now, now he's taking the next step of personally schmoozing European Union, trying to schmooze European Union leaders. And you're a billionaire when like the president of France takes your call or will take a meeting with you just because you're you. And basically what he's trying to do is say, hey, European Union, you got to get in the way of this Netflix Warner Brothers merger because it's anti-competitive. It's going to be an antitrust problem. And look, to their credit, it's true. Look, this is not ideal. The ideal situation is Warner Brothers Discovery stays independent. It keeps its own streaming operation. It keeps its own cable operations. It keeps its studios. That's ideal. What is not ideal is yet another conglomerate gobbling up another conglomerate. It's bad. Like Ellison's like, oh, this will be bad for business. So would Paramount taking it over. Skydance Paramount taking over Warner Brothers Discovery is bad too, for the same fucking reasons. And he's just like, we'll be less bad. That's what he's trying to convince everyone. Will it work? I mean, I guess money can, grease. I guess money can kind of, grease the palms of the people that are making the decisions. It can like make straight the way. But I think there's a lot more at stake here than just antitrust implications. One of the things is that the United States is really making some bold and kind of like not so friendly moves. Let's just say that in terms of its geopolitics. And CBS, not CBS, but Skydance, Paramount, and through its news organization like CBS, are becoming essentially a functional propaganda arm of the administration of the U.S. government. As a result, would Europe really be friendly to someone who's in bed basically with the Trump administration, who is saber rattling and potentially, going to cause a major, geopolitical conflict over some bullshit, really? So why would the European Union side with them? Basically making one of the propaganda arms of the administration even more powerful, have wider reach. So I don't think that's going to work. That said, who knows? Like I think Netflix is a little bit more of a neutral party in this situation, but who knows what they will favor and why they would care about what. Also, they Paramount they filed a lawsuit in Delaware against Warner Brothers Discovery to try to compel them to show more financial information so they can find out, I guess, if the deal between them and Netflix is on the up and up. And the reason for this is because, Paramount's like, look, I bought you the biggest diamond and pearl necklace, and I got you a car, and I'm offering all of this money, so much more than that bum Netflix. They ain't got no money. Like they're like to the tune of, I want to say $25 to $30 billion more than Netflix. And Warner Brothers keeps saying no. So they're like, how is this possible? We need to see these details. I need to see, I need to see everything. We need to pry into all of it to see if there's some collusion or weirdness going on, which is hilarious to me because people at this level of wealth and shit, they're always doing shady ass shit, colluding and all this insider trade. They're always doing that shit. They just don't like when other people do it against them. So, but as of now, the lawsuit is going on. What it's not doing is proceeding faster, which I think it's probably because Paramount, they want to squash this as quickly as they can, or at least they want to prevent Netflix and Warner Brothers from moving forward, into the preliminary stages of this merger. And one of the way they can do that is by tangling them up in court. So this is just a stalling method, essentially. But the judges said, nah, we're not going to speed this along because I don't see really the problem here. And you kind of need to show why you're being harmed for us not speeding along. So the lawsuit is still out there. It's just not going to be like, steamrolling. I guess good. Like I really, really don't want Paramount to win this. And for reasons I've already kind of said. It would be bad. For all of us. I really also want to see the Ellisons take a L. The thing is not just take a L. I want them to take a L and shut the fuck up and like accept it. Like this is a problem. These wealthy people are so used to, if they don't win just off merits, they're gonna like buy their way to it. And if they can't buy their way, they're gonna bully their way into it. It's a bunch of bullshit. I want them to take a L and fucking sit with it. Will they? We'll see. That said, all this stuff that's going on also means that Netflix is they're kind of in a weird, I don't want to say weird, but they're kind of in a hot seat because the Paramount deal, at least on paper, it's all cash, and it's like much more, like I said, like $25 to $30 billion difference. Shareholders are gonna be like, why are y'all rejecting that? I want money. I get it, and the board of WWE Discovery is like, yeah, that sounds good, but we think that all of the whole package with Netflix is a lot more stable. It's a lot better deal. It's a lot more assurances than what you get with the Paramount deal. What does that mean? Who knows? They're the only ones that are privy to the actual information. Again, this is why Paramount is suing, because they want to know exactly what those details are. But Netflix has taken this to heart, and they're like, well, they're looking at, upping their offer, essentially, potentially doing an all cash deal. The one thing I will note though, the reason why their deal is like doesn't have as much money attached to it is because they don't give a shit about the cable part. Like literally, they're not buying that. They don't care about that. That is going to spin off into its own thing and be whatever over there. They just want the studios, and they want the streaming, and they want the studios. So that's a part of the reason why it's not as lucrative a deal. But they're looking at doing an all cash offer to potentially sweeten the pot and then to just basically lock in Warner Brothers Discovery against Paramount. We're in it for the long haul. This is not going to be over. If this gets done before the end of the year, I'm going to be really surprised. If it's beyond just just the preliminary stages, I'd be surprised. There are so many roadblocks here, and part of that is the Trump administration. So we are going to see where this goes. But I'm saving that one that one image. There's no reason for me to take it down because we will continue to talk about this shit for the coming months, and until they finally get it together, and hopefully it'll be in our favor and not yet another basically a fascist takeover of what I consider to be one of the great studios in Hollywood. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'll let you know what happens in the future. And so now, in this shortened episode, we're going to get around to rumors. Fine, we'll talk about the rumors. These dubious MCU rumors that keep popping up on my damn social media feed. It is, Daniel RPK and random ass other people, I didn't see My Time to Shine Hello, which, surprise, they're usually putting stuff out, but there's rumors floating about on the internet about the upcoming MCU stuff. No DC stuff. That's not surprising. They never see any real rumors there. Probably because James Gunn is online and just knocking it down. So I thought we talk about a few of these. So the first one is that Blade has been canceled in favor of a Midnight Suns movie. Blade, of course, should have been out last year. Mahershala Ali was I think he was attached to it in 2019 for the next slate. Not a damn thing has come out of it. The best thing that's come out of the Blade movie is that Sinners basically got to use all the costumes from it. Because Ruth Carter was attached to work on Blade when it was a period piece. It fell through, obviously. They never made it, but they ended up selling the costumes to Sinners. So a lot of what we saw in there is the period specific pieces for Sinners. That's about it. It's notorious for not actually being a movie that's ever moved forward. It's in development hell. I think The Flash is maybe the only other development hell superhero movie that we can really talk about. But it, after 10 years, eventually made it. But this one, a Midnight Suns movie is something that people have been talking about since the supernatural side of the MCU has kind of opened up. Doctor Strange a little bit of it, but we saw Werewolf by Night that introduced Man-Thing and Elsa Bloodstone. We got Moon Knight. There's there's a lot of aspects of the supernatural that could be put into this in the MCU, and we want to see it. I mean, I think even the Black Knight, that was another one from Eternals, is sort of part of that, and of course Blade. So the idea here, I'm supposing, is that they cast another person as Blade, and then bring all of these other characters back, and then you do a Midnight Suns movie. Do I buy this? Not really. Look, it sounds good. Look, if they said they were going to do it, I'd be excited to hear about it. I actually want a Midnight Suns movie, especially if it's about dealing with Dracula, the Montesi formula, and vampires. Cool. I'd be down for that. Give it to Michael Giacchino, even better. But I don't know if I necessarily buy it because that, well, it would be kind of silly, at least in terms of like fan interaction with it, because the Blade, it's basically it's admitting defeat on the Blade. It's introducing Blade in not his own movie. And then it's lumping him in, basically making him a co-lead or even just one of an ensemble. And I know they love their ensembles in the MCU, but they really need to have some solo heroes. I would be fine with the Midnight Suns as a second movie. Introduce Blade. You've introduced Moon Knight. You've introduced Werewolf by Night. Give Blade his introduction. Then do the Midnight Suns movie. This seems like you're rushing towards not Dark Avengers, but what would you call it? I guess you could call it Dark Avengers, without actually having to do a lot of the work, I suppose. Or at least you're kind of giving short shrift to Blade. I don't love the idea. That being said, if they decide to do this, I'm with it. I think it would be fine. In fact, I think it would be pretty cool. The supernatural side of the MCU hasn't been explored. There's plenty of it in the comics, and it could be very fun, especially if you bring in like witches and you bring in vampires and you bring in maybe some eldritch monsters and stuff like that. It could be very cool. We'll see. We'll see if this gets confirmed. I don't think it will be. Some news about Hawkeye season 2. That in this case, it will be mostly about Kate Bishop taking the lead and being a send-off for an official send-off for Hawkeye. Basically sunsetting the character. I love the Hawkeye show. I think it's awesome. I think it's one of the best things that the MCU did post Endgame. Very fun. It's a good holiday watch. Introducing Kate Bishop. Haley Steinfeld does a great job. So, if this is what they do, I'm with it. I'd be perfectly fine with her leading the movie. Sunsetting Hawkeye? Sure. That's why, I kind of buy this because we've been hearing from Jeremy Renner, at least, that they wanted to do it. They just were not good on the money. And then we heard probably about a few months ago that maybe the money situation, because they were wanting to pay him less than they did for the first season. I mean, why? Why do that? So maybe they got the money situation back in order. Kate Bishop has been kind of out of play for too long. Last time we saw her was at the end of the Marvels for a very brief cameo. Very interesting character. Obviously, there's a passing of the torch that's happening. So, I mean, I could, like I said, I buy this. I think this probably is what's on the table. What's at play. Are we actually gonna get it? That's my question. This rumor that these are the story beats. Are we actually gonna get this? I would say probably. If for no other reason, because they already have established these characters, and in the aftermath of Doomsday and Secret Wars, probably more people will be aware of who this, Kate Bishop is, and probably Young Avengers is going to be on the table too. So if I think this is going to happen, I think it's going to happen. Let's see, 2028. That sounds about a good time. And they're probably well into development on it right now. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this news, and we'll let you know what we find out. Speaking of exits from the MCU, it seems, at least according to this rumor, that Michael Pena is done with the MCU. Or is the MCU done with him? I don't know. But I think this sounds very credible. For one, we didn't see him in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which huge fumble. What a fumble. Everyone loves Luis. If I find anybody in the world that does not like Luis, we'll never get along. Just count on it. If you don't like Luis in the MCU, we will never get along because he absolute scene stealer and he's just an epic storyteller. People have talked about for years that one of the best things Marvel could ever do is just put out videos either on YouTube or just on the Marvel channel or on Disney Plus of Luis recapping the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's a genius. It's an easy idea. It's genius. It gets everybody into it, and people know him from Ant-Man. That's like he's a beloved character. Why Marvel doesn't want to do that, I have no idea. They could have done this years and years ago. That said, he was not in Quantumania. He's not been in the MCU since Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's not Quantumania. So he hasn't been in the MCU since then, and there doesn't seem to be any movement to bring him back. I'm pretty sure this is true, and I'm pretty sure he's not ever going to be back in the MCU, and I think that's terrible because the MCU needs Michael Pena, needs Luis, and it's going to be I think it'll be a lesser MCU without him. But you know what? We'll keep an eye on this. Maybe it'll be confirmed, or maybe they'll lift our hopes up and say, nope, he's coming back for probably not that next Ant-Man. He's coming back for something, and we'll see. We'll let you know when we find out. That brings us to our last rumor. This is about Wolverine, basically. You see from the video there, or from the image there, Wolverine so far has only ever been played by Hugh Jackman. And as he said in Deadpool and Wolverine, Wolverine says, we're going to have you doing this until you're 90. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Hugh Jackman, as long as he doesn't say no, I mean, if he keeps showing up for this, sure. $1 billion movie in Deadpool and Wolverine. Everyone loves Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. But the introduction of the mutants also, I think, means the final sunsetting of the legacy characters. We already know that he's coming back. We already know that we're getting Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, James Marsden, Famke Janssen, etc., etc., etc. We're getting all of them, right? As a part of Doomsday and as part of Secret Wars. The multiverse is being, consolidated. There's going to be a single world, and I don't think there's a place for the legacy characters. And so, who's the most legacy character? Wolverine, obviously. So the idea here is that there's going to be two Wolverines. There's going to be an Old Man Logan, which, by the way, if they actually fucking do it justice, genius, because Old Man Logan's one of the best Wolverine stories. So much so that even though it was originally like an alternate future, miniseries, they actually in the comics fold Old Man Logan back into the team. He's time displaced, and he's the Old Man Logan from that series, and he's folded back into the mainline comics universe. It could be really cool. The Old Man Logan kind of side universe is a very interesting universe. It's very grim too, but it's very interesting. So, and they've also, I will note, they've sort of given us a sneak peek at it. If you watch Deadpool and Wolverine, the Wolverine that we saw in there, because the Logan that we know from the mainline X-Men movies, like the Bryan Singer ones and everything, the Days of Future Past, etc., he's dead. He's dead. We saw Deadpool kill people with his corpse. So that's not the one we're talking about. We're talking about the one from Deadpool and Wolverine, who was a different Logan that failed the heroes. He's the old man. He essentially is Old Man Logan before he's old. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but if you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, he fucked up bad, and the X-Men are all dead, and it's his fault, basically. So they've already sort of given us a way into it, canonically through Deadpool and Wolverine. So that part makes sense to me. It also makes sense to me that because Doomsday and Secret Wars are basically the way into introducing, or at least retconning in, the mutants, they're going to have to cast a different Wolverine, because he's going to be the Wolverine for the ongoing, MCU, at the rebooted and reconstituted MCU that now includes mutants. So I totally buy this rumor. This makes a ton of sense to me. You can basically introduce the mutants, introduce the new team of X-Men and whatever. I'm gonna assume it's Secret Wars, and then you can sunset the characters you already know. So it's a good two-hander. I think it makes a ton of sense narratively, and I think it'd be very satisfying as a long-time viewer and as a newer viewer to see who your new X-Men are gonna be. I just hope that they cast really well, because Wolverine is a super important character. I understand he's probably overly represented within the comics and within the movies, but look, he's a popular character and they got to get him right. So I think whoever said this rumor, they probably, this is not too hard to say that it's on point. That being said, that's all of the news, everything I had to talk about today. Again, not a terrible lot to talk about. It's a slow news week, but maybe I forgot something. Maybe you saw something and it slipped past my feed. You agreed with me, disagreed with me, want to say something nice, troll me, whatever the case may be. You know what to do. Get down there to the comment section and leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit me up. It's supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurred_force1 on Instagram and Thread, and it's also blurred_force1 on TikTok. I gotta change that graphic, but go check me out on all of those. And while you're doing that, do me a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps grow this channel, helps more people to see this podcast and all of the other things that we do on Blurred Force 1. So I don't have another much of an outro this time. Just want to say thanks for joining me on this episode. It's episode 215 of the Supercast. Come back next week. Polly, I hope she'll be feeling better. She'll be back. We'll have some more news to talk about. We'll do some nerding on a budget. We'll talk about comics, Polly's comics. It'll be a good time. So until then, I have been Mo, your comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, and I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.